What's up, Jets fans? Welcome to the latest edition of the Jets Latest, where you get the latest on the Jets, Jets. I'm your host, the spitting statistician, Dane Martinez, and we continue to look at the green and white after free agency as they move ahead to the draft. And I gotta tell you, a lot of things are lining up specifically for two former Ohio State Buckeyes to truly shine. First, Garrett Wilson. I mean, there are a lot of kind of wide receivers that people were thinking that the Jets may kind of mess with, right? Like whether it was Stephon Diggs or Cooper Kupp or Chris Godwin or whoever it was. But no, they didn't make any of those moves. The moves they made were more under the radar, right? Signing guys like Tyler Johnson, signing guys like Josh Reynolds, who are quality veterans who can get the job done, but really profile as more of a wide receiver 3, to be sure, right? You've got Malachi Corley, and I think they're going to add a draft pick probably in like the 3rd round or so. And of course, there is still Allen Lazard on the roster. But what that means is that, in my opinion, Garrett Wilson is going to be a target monster for the Jets in 2025. And new head coach Aaron Glenn basically said as much. Check this out. Aaron Glenn said that the team is looking to get Garrett Wilson the ball, quote unquote, as much as possible. And quite frankly, they can't really try to get Garrett Wilson the ball more than they did last year. Last year, Garrett Wilson had 153 targets. That was 5th best in the entire NFL. Just about 20 targets less than Malik Neighbors, who led the entire NFL with over 170. He had 101 catches, over 1,100 yards, and 7 touchdowns last year. That is a very good season. So what, they're going to get him the ball even more? What do you think that can mean? And also, Garrett Wilson has the skill set, okay? He also had a 48% contested catch rate. That means when the defender is all over him, he still catches the ball. That was 7th best in the NFL, especially among guys who are, prototypical number 1 wide receivers that had like 80 catches or more. He only had 4 drops all season long. That is stud-like numbers. Remember the one-handed catch he made late in the season for a touchdown? That was absolutely beautiful. But here's the thing, honestly. With Josh Reynolds, with Tyler Johnson, Malachi Corley, whether Lazard stays or not, whether they bring in a kid or not, these guys are going to be the Robin, at best, to the Garrett Wilson Batman, okay? Garrett Wilson already had one of the highest target shares in the league. Not only his 153 targets, which was 5th best, but his target share was 23.6. That means 23.6% of the passes that were thrown by the New York Jets last year were intended for Garrett Wilson. And the other part of it is, that was when he had a legitimate all-pro on the other side in Davante Adams. Davante Adams had 141 targets. Davante Adams had a 21.8% target share. That was 15th in the NFL. Neither Tyler Johnson nor Josh Reynolds is going to command over 140 targets. None of them are 20% target share guys, okay? And Garrett Wilson was able to do that with Davante Adams on the other side. Now you downgrade the wide receiver 2s and 3s. That just means more targets, more opportunity for Garrett Wilson. And let's not forget, Garrett Wilson, who was his quarterback at college? Oh yeah, it was Justin Fields at Ohio State. These guys have chemistry. This is part of what the Jets did to please Garrett Wilson, was bring in Justin Fields. So here's the deal. I know they're talking about extensions and stuff. You got to pay Garrett Wilson now, because I believe 2025 is going to be Garrett Wilson's best season as a pro, and the price is only going to go up. Fat Joe just said today's price is not yesterday's price. So if they decide to not extend Garrett Wilson and he pops off and has 115 catches, goes for 1,300 yards and 10 touchdowns, guess what? It's going to cost a lot more to sign and extend Garrett Wilson. We know we want to build around Garrett Wilson. We know he is a cornerstone. We might as well pay Wilson now. The other thing I want to talk about is, Justin Fields has breakout potential as well. Listen to what Aaron Glenn, new head coach, had to say about Justin Fields. He has a quiet confidence about him. He can really throw the deep ball really, really well. Obviously, his legs are something that's dynamic, not just in college, but in the NFL level as well. I just think he's ready to break out as a top-notch quarterback. We're going to coach our asses off to make sure he does a good job out there. And let me tell you something. Aaron Glenn probably knows about this more than most. I've said it before. I'll say it again. Aaron Glenn was the defensive coordinator of the Detroit Lions in the NFC North. They saw Justin Fields when he was the starting quarterback with the Bears 4 times. And check this out. Glenn mentions the dual threat nature of Justin Fields, the dynamic ability of his legs. In 4 games for Justin Fields with the Bears, against the Detroit Lions, with Aaron Glenn on the other sideline trying to figure out how to stop him, he ran 13 times for 147 yards and 2 touchdowns. That was 1 game. Then 10 times for 132 yards. Then 18 times for 104 yards. Then 12 times for 58 yards and a tud. Aaron Glenn knows how hard it is to prepare for a quarterback like Justin Fields. And I think that is a big key of what the Jets are trying to do. You give him a wide receiver that he loves. You build out the offensive line, which I have been talking about here on Jets Latest. And I think the number 7 overall pick is going to be a big part of that. You have a good run game behind you with Breece Hall and Braylon Allen and Davis, right? 3 young backs that we like. And then Justin Fields adds another element. So what that's going to do is that's going to make single coverage against guys like Josh Reynolds, single coverage against guys like Tyler Johnson, and be able to do their thing to be sure. So Aaron Glenn really does believe in Justin Fields. You heard me yesterday on Jets Latest saying that Darren Moji targeted Justin Fields for some of the same reasons. And honestly, not only is Garrett Wilson potentially to break out, not only is Justin Fields have the potential to break out, but he talked about how he's got a quiet confidence in himself. That's what, Aaron Glenn said. Remember after he was drafted out of Ohio State with Chicago, he started being a little bit, I think, too cute, too confident, like, oh, I could do this easy. He got humbled a little bit, but now a little bit older, a little bit wiser, and in his second act, listen to what he is saying as Justin Fields continues to try to grow as a passer. I know I definitely have some untapped potential that I haven't reached yet, but I'm hoping to get there this year, and I'm hoping to put it on display for everybody to see. Here's what this reminds me of, okay? There are a number of quarterbacks over the last couple of years who didn't make it as top round picks early on in their career. Then they got a second chance with another franchise, and that franchise believed in them, that franchise organized around them, that franchise coached them up and put weapons around them or put kind of things in play for him to develop and do better. I'm talking about Baker Mayfield when he got to Tampa Bay, and all he's done has won, back-to-back division titles with the Tampa Bay Bucks. I'm talking about what you saw Sam Darnold do this year with the Minnesota Vikings, getting coached up by Kevin O'Connell, having weapons like Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison and TJ Hawkinson, leading the Vikings to like a 14-3 season. It can be done, even to a lesser extent. Look at former Jet Geno Smith, for goodness sakes, when he went to Seattle, right? Certainly developed into a quality NFL starter, made a Pro Bowl, for goodness sake, and wasn't thought of as a laughing stock or anything like that. That's what we're talking about here, is really the potential for Justin Fields. And he has been developing as a passer. In his years, since coming into the league, he started with a 59% completion percentage. That has gone up every single year he's been in the NFL, to 60, to 61. Then last year with the Pittsburgh Steelers, when he won 4 out of 6 games, had 10 touchdowns and only 1 interception, he was completing 66% of his passes. So let me tell you something. This is absolutely possible. And again, on a 2-year, $40 million contract that is below market value, when they're surrounding him with former Buckeyes, whether it's Garrett Wilson, his center Myers, his tight end Ruckert, and basically an organization that believes in him, a head coach that knew he was hard to defend and scheme against. I think that is why Garrett Wilson and Justin Fields have a potential to break out as a duo in 2025. We have seen it before. We will see it again. We do not need to get the big shiny cherry on top. Aaron Rodgers still hasn't declared. We don't have to be worried about that. We don't have to be worried about a Stephon Diggs or anybody like that who could bring acrimony to the locker room. We don't got to do that. We got to build slow, get younger, build competition, and the Jets fans need to just have patience to let this develop, much like we saw with the Detroit Lions under Dan Campbell, much like we see with the Houston Texans under DeMeco Ryans. That is going to be the case, in my opinion, over not just this year, but in the next couple of years for the Jets, Jets under Aaron Glenn. Keep it watchful because it is a very exciting time and we're going to add more pieces coming up in the 2025 draft. That'll do it for this episode of Jets Latest. Remember, like the video, subscribe to the channel, feel free to leave a comment. I try to interact with everybody. Hit me up, follow me on social media at Spittin' Speeds. And if you want to hear more from the Spittin' Statistician, I am also the host of the FTN Fantasy Show on SiriusXM, the Fantasy Channel number 87, where we talk not only about the Jets, not only about football, fantasy football, but we talk fantasy baseball, we talk March Madness, we talk the NBA, and anything that can help you win your leagues and win that cash. But do recognize I will be here tomorrow and every day giving you what you need for the green and white because it is an exciting time, and as long as you have the patience, the arrow is pointing up for the green and white. It might take some time, but we're doing it the right way. Finally, it is a good time to be a Jets fan. Tell a friend to tell a friend. That's another episode of Jets Latest in the books. We'll see y'all tomorrow. Peace.